All right, shalom, shalom. All right, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness and sincerity. And shalom, shalom to the elect among the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, but the Spirit bears witness that they're the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, and meaning the Israelites, and shalom to the real sisters out there. All right, this is part two to that live that I was doing, meditating on how Esau and Edom and the heathens, they're furthering our affliction. They're gonna fucking pay for it. It's also a reassurance to the elect as well, It's reassurance to the elect that, we will get justice, and even 2/3, they're gonna be in the right mind and the kingdom and all that. So, and to witness that as well, but they're gonna be hanging their heads low. They are gonna be in the right mind though. But anyways, that I was going into how World War III is like the beginning of the judgment. Well, actually, not the beginning, but when it started to get real, when it gets real hot, when the Most High Yahweh is basically when He takes these heathens out of power. That's going to be the event that's going to do it. These heathens, Esau and these heathens, they should never lay their hands on us. So, that's going to be the beginning of them falling. Hey, that's going to be the beginning of them basically serving out their sentence for fucking with our people. The punishment. And, I'm going to start off at Joel 3 goes into why it's World War III, why it's going to happen, why it got to happen. Verse 1, for behold, let me think. Yeah, for behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. So showing you this a people before it's a place, right? Verse 2, I will also gather all nations. And so Judah, southern kingdom, so-called black people, the Haitians, and the Jamaicans. Well, not just Jamaicans, but West Indians, right? Right? That's southern kingdom. Judah, so-called black people in America, so-called African Americans. Levi, so-called Haitians. Primarily, and Benjamin, the West Indians, primarily. And Jerusalem, encompasses the whole nation of Israel, but since the two are mentioned separately, the Northern Kingdom, so-called Latinos and Native Americans today, primarily. Verse 2, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of, says Jehoshaphat, but that's Anglicized version of Yehoshaphat, meaning meaning Yahweh's judgment. Yahweh being the true name of the Most High, of the Father, meaning He is, which is a conjugation of I am, will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. They parted our land and they scattered us among the nations. They scattered us among the nations. Say how us divided among the nations, divided the people, scattered us among the nations, and they parted our land, man. You got the 1948ers, the chief house of the nation of Esau, Edom. The ish that wish to be us, right? You got them in our land claiming our heritage. You know, calling themselves Israel. You got them, and then you got of course, claiming all the good parts of the land that's left. Then you got the Ishmaelites, the so-called Palestinians. You got them. The Arabs, the so-called Arabs, they don't belong there either. Those are the two major groups that have parted our land. Two major heathen nations. And then you got so you got them, and you got a few others. You got some Hamites in the mix as well, because you have Philosopher Jews is made up of, that name actually means fate, and made up of Hamites, and there's some Jakes scattered among them too, as well. Because our people be down there. But yeah, you get the point. Heathens split in our land, and the so-called Armenians, which a lot of them would be Esau, but they also scattered our people among the nations. But those are. But you get the point, right? They scattered us and they parted our land. Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. So they cast lots for our people, man. You watch, they shit, auctions, man, slave auctions. That's that right there. And have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. A boy for a harlot. Shit. You look in the bug breaking, man. It's all there. It's all there. Sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Verse 4, yeah. And what have ye to do with me, O Tyre, or Tyre, and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. So Tyre and Zidon, the two sons, those two sons of Canaan, So the inhabitants in all coast of Palestine. So them and the inhabitants of our land, them and the other inhabitants, the former inhabitants of our land, the Canaanites, and the people who inhabit them now, the 1948ers and the Ishmaelites. All the coast of Palestine. Will ye render me a recompense? Because Yasharallah, which means Israel, the original Paleo Hebrew, Yasharallah, our people as a whole, the Israelites took that land. We took that land. It was given to us by the Most High Yahweh to take. So because they was doing all kinds of foul shit. It was promised to Abraham. So, and so that was passed down to Jacob. And so to get back at us, this is what they did. Verse 5, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly, pleasant things. So they took our shit. They took our silver and our gold. And also, let me keep on reading. Verse 6, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. Children of Judah, southern kingdom, children of Jerusalem, because you had our people there, the northern kingdom that didn't go with the rest of the northern tribes and stayed with the southern kingdom. But also your so-called Latinos and natives was being put on ships as well, man. You was being taken to Europe. You was being taken to the Caribbean, to the colonies over there. You so-called Mexicans your tribe of Ishkar was being shipped off to the Philippines as well. You so-called, a lot of you so-called Latinos, y'all was being shipped off over there, especially you so-called Mexicans primarily was being shipped off to the Philippines to be slaves. So northern tribes was also being put on ships. Hey, you so-called South Americans, like from Colombia to Uruguay, you Asherites, a lot of y'all probably shipped off to the Portuguese colonies in Southwest Africa, like Angola, Mozambique. You also had that. So they was just shipping our people everywhere, They was putting them on ships and removing them far from their border, far from our homeland and also far from where they lived before, far from their temporary homeland to some other land. Verse 7, behold, I'll raise them out of the place where ye have sold them. Hey, all the tribes was put on slave ships, man. All of them, when you look into it. Verse 7, behold, I'll raise them out of the place where ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. This is what he's going to do. Verse 8, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah. Then they shall sell them to the Sabians, to people far off, for Yahweh has spoken it. Just like with you Hamites is gonna pay too, man. That includes you fucking Hamites. You doodle-eating Africans, man. Booty scratching Africans. You indigenous Africans. You so-called Africans. You Hamites. Ishmael, all you fucking heathen, man. It's like all you heathen which followed the lead of Esau, the so-called white man, to take our people down. The Grecians, the modern day Grecians. But speaking of these so-called white people, Esau, Edom, modern Greco-Roman civilization, it's Western civilization. That's how you can tell. Verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Verse 10, beat your plowshares in the swords, and your pruning hooks in the spears, let the weak say, I am strong. Verse 11, assemble yourselves, and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, that are caused thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Verse 12, let the heathen be wakened, and come to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, where there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Hey, all these heathens is gonna, they all gathering in this place. the Valley of Yehoshaphat, which is, you know, the so-called Middle East. You have been had that going on. You got U.S. troops, Babylon, of course, all up in the mix. You got them all up in there. You had got the Russians in Syria and shit. Got them. Slovakia. You got the Russians. You got the even heard reports that Chinese troops in that area. Got that. Y'all can look into it. You have the so-called Arab countries, Ishmael, stay be in area anyways, but you have them clicking up as well. They're you have Iran, which is in that area, but they're getting more involved. They've been getting more involved, especially, because, Babylon's been fucking with them. And the 1948ers too. And you have the NATO countries in there, of course, you have a few of them, not that much of them. So you got the heathens, the heathens gathering themselves, man. Saying they're strong. The weak heathen nations are saying they're strong, man. Like, these weak little kingdoms that you didn't think would be able to pop shit, like North Korea. They're North Korea, China, Iran. Any of these countries, like, they wasn't factors back in the day. Now you see them, they don't give a fuck no more. Because they got what Babylon been had and what these different Edomite countries been had. They got it now. Them nukes, they got that now. And so they can they 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 can talk their shit now. And that's what you see. You're gonna see that World War III situation heat up, Slovakia. You're gonna see that World War III situation, Slovakia. You're gonna see that World War Slovakia. What I'm trying to say is you're gonna see that World War III situation heat up. It's gonna get hotter. That's how they're gonna be judged. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves, did around about. Together round about, did cause thy mighty ones to come down on Yahweh. Verse 12, let the heathen be wakened and come to the valley of Yehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Yep. So, yeah. Verse 13, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. Fast will flow, for their wickedness is great. All the bullshit they did to our people, man. How they constantly exploit us, man. How these devils hold us down. These devils keep our people from prospering and shit, and even furthering it to destroy our people. Not just keeping us down, but also, trying to wipe us out. And these heathens, benefiting. Ishmael with their 7-Elevens, selling junk, selling shit to our people, selling cigs to our people. Moab, the so-called Chinese, selling fucking abominations to our people, man. Selling your fucking dog meat, saying it's chicken. Rat meat, saying it's chicken. Who knows what else? The so-called Japanese, the Ammonites, all kinds of abominations from the sea, promoting, selling that sushi shit to our people. cheap too. Buffets, man, where you get stuff your face and your body for cheap, man. Are people gonna be all up in there? Of course, no shit. They exploited. Are people being down and out, being oppressed, licking the wounds? So they gotta pay for that. Because when a dog, hey, that pursuing the Lazarus and the rich man, the dogs licked his wounds. When a dog licks your wounds, it actually makes it worse. It infects the wounds. Or when when a dog licks your wound, it make it worse. But they're lapping up the blood and shit, whatever's coming out your wounds. So they're benefiting. The 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 dog is benefiting, but you're not benefiting. Obviously, it's to your detriment, to your downfall. So they gotta pay for that. Verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. Verse 15, the sun and the moon. Also something else, the chariots are making their day, are showing up more and more. They'll cause our mighty ones to come down over Yahweh. That's his mighty ones. Because the chariots are gonna, them angels in them chariots and so-called UFOs, they're gonna be putting in work. They're gonna be adding fuel to the fire. And these devils gonna try to fight the Most High Yahweh, and all these heathen nations is gonna try to fight the Most High Yahweh. They're gonna team up. They're gonna be like, wait, there's a so-called alien invasion. I'm gonna get into that. Verse 15: the sun and the moon shall be darkened, the sun and stars shall withdraw their shining. Nuclear missiles. Also, it's nuclear missiles. That's the literal definition. It's nuclear missiles. But also, the nights. Hey, have you ever heard that? Slack. What I'm trying to say is that have you ever heard of that saying, I'm gonna knock your lights out? Hey, the lights are gonna be knocked out of this place. Verse 16, Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. Meaning that's symbolic. The people at the top and the people getting ruled over shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Yeah, he's going to deliver all people. The real victors of World War III is going to be the elect, aka the house of David. The house of David, the 1/3 of Israel. That's going to be the real victors of World War III. Yahweh Shai and the elect. Verse 17, so you shall know that I am Yahweh, your power dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. Dead. Proving that those ain't the people. You still got strangers passing through their land. Let me get... hey, those Psalms 83 hit list. The Most High Yahweh's hit list. Psalm chapter 83. All these nations that's got to pay A1 that benefited from benefited and took part, benefited and took part. Hold on. Maybe I think I'm. Nah, I think I. Hold on. I'm going through. I got infirmities that I'm dealing with. Psalm 83 and 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, O power Yahweh. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O power Yahweh. Verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. To the conspiracy. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. Verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom. So the so-called white man. Tabernacle means tent, the tents of Edom, the so-called white man. And the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arab. And the Moabites, the so-called Chinese. And the Hagarenes, that's Hamites, man. Because Hagar was an Egyptian. Verse 7, Gibal, which is, I believe it's over there in that area as well. Gibal. It's close to Egypt, I believe. So more Hamites, so-called Africans. And Ammon. Ammon would be the so-called Japanese today. And Amalek, that's the the fake Jays. That's them. The fake Jays. The ones that's behind all this. They're at the head of all this. The Philistines were the inhabitants of Tyre, Mohamites. Assur is also joined with them. Iraq, they're in Iraq today. No, because them Arabs it's like Arab mean going to mixture. So you have Ishmael, and you got Assur, these other Shemitic countries, it's like a Shemitic nations. And you got you even got Esau in the mix. You got them them crypto so-called Jays, man. You got them, with them in the mix. And Turk babies, Turks, looking at them, they're like the so-called Jays. So yeah, you got Ashur, which he's the descendant of the Assyrians, is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Moabites and Ammonites, so-called East Asians today. Salah. So all this, the Most High Yahweh's hit list. That's what this is right here, because this is Hey, all these heathens that conspired to bring our people down and to do away with us, to cut us off from remembrance and from being a nation, they got to be dealt with, and they're going to be dealt with. And World War III is a part of that. It's a major part of that. When they're going to be brought down. They're going to be brought down from their position. Esau is going to have a great fall, man. Because Esau is at the top, at the head of all this. He's the most proud. Esau is going to have the worst judgment out of all of them. Hey, how art thou fallen? How pursuing Isaiah 14? How art thou fallen? Oh, Lucifer, son of the morning. That word mean light bearer. Speaking of the Illuminati, the so-called Illuminati. These elite families. How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? I'll wrap it up soon. Verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of power. They're the most proud, man. I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. Verse 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Verse 16, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kings? Verse 17, that made the world his wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. Is this the man? That's how they're gonna, even these other nations being brought down themselves from their position. Oh, hold on, Akim.